You know, in the old days, film directors were contract players, which meant studios pretty much owned them. They were full-time employees, which means they were directing every single day of their lives pretty much. And they were used to it, and they got into a rhythm of it. But in today's freelance world, if you're a director, you're not always on the set. You're not always directing it. You could go years sometimes between projects. So I want to remind you today of 5 critical things you need to do on a set. If you're a director, whether you're doing short videos or film or movies, television, whatever you're doing, I want to remind you today and talk about 5 critical things that you need to do on the set that you need to really be reminded of that will make a dramatic difference in the quality and the length of your career. Hi, I'm Phil Cooke, and I'm thrilled that you're here. Remember, these episodes are so important for people who are trying to be creative or lead creative people, and I'd encourage you to go on YouTube, go on iTunes. If you're watching on YouTube, like us, comment, share, subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast, rate us, review us, share us. The bottom line is this information needs to get in the hands of more and more people. So I'd encourage you, help us grow, help us get the message out there in a bigger way. We appreciate it so much. It means a great deal to us, and I'm honored that you think so much that you'd be willing to do that. Today I want to talk about 5 critical things that directors need to do on the set. If you're a director, and it doesn't matter if you're directing feature-length films or documentaries or short videos, whatever you're doing, and even if you're not a director, if you're an actor or producer, director of photography, a makeup artist, maybe you're doing something else on the set, this is a good reminder for you to see how the director works and what he should be concerned about and how he should be working, because it's a good standard. And I just want to give you these 5 things because I think they're critically important. And as I said in the teaser, so many directors today go between projects. They could go a long time between projects. I have a friend who's a feature film director, and he goes years between doing a feature film. In contrast to, as I mentioned, the old days when contract directors would just go from one movie to another to another. It was a factory. And they were getting plugged into pictures all the time. If you even look at the filmography of great directors from the past, they would do a ton of films in their career, where even the most productive directors today don't do nearly that many. So very often we need to be reminded of some of the behaviors and some of the techniques that we use in the set, because we just don't get a chance to get on the set as much as a lot of people did in the past. So here's 5 things that have made a real difference for me when I've been directing around the world on different projects. Number 1, do your homework. I know, you get that. Most people think, you understand it, but I just find so many directors don't do the extent of homework they need to do. I was a second unit director on a feature film one time, and I just noticed that the director just never did his homework. He would show up on the set and expect to get this brilliant insight and inspiration about what to do, where to put the camera, how to deal with the actors, what section of the script are we doing today. He would just waited till we got to the set. And here's the problem with that. I mean, I'm hoping he's getting inspiration, but the truth is we probably had 50 or 60 people standing around waiting for him to make a decision. And he would pace the floor and walk around and get advice from other people. And let me tell you, the cash register is ringing. It was getting insanely expensive. And as a result, we went way over time. We went way over budget. It was just a horrible, horrible experience. So always do your homework. And you know what? I'm all for being open to a genius idea on the set. There's no question about that. And I'm ready always to modify my thinking. Sometimes a DP will come up to me with a brilliant idea, or the writer will have a brilliant idea, a producer, someone else will have a brilliant idea, and I'm always open to that. However, in case inspiration does not hit, I want to plan. I want to walk onto the set knowing where that camera's going to go, knowing how I'm going to direct the scene, knowing what I want to achieve that day. So always do your homework. It can be a brilliant, brilliant thing, and it'll save you from a huge amount of embarrassment and save you from a failed project. So don't ever assume that inspiration is going to come once you hit the set. The second thing is, don't be a jerk. Again, something else you probably know, something else you think about, but let me tell you, it happens more often than you think. Trust me, if you've directed a project, certainly big projects, a million things go wrong every single day. But we should run toward problems as creative people, not run away from them, and certainly not pawn them off on other people and get upset with them. So many people lose their temper on the set, and let me just give you a little secret here. The minute you lose your temper, the minute you start yelling at a crew member, you've just telegraphed to the crew that you've run out of options. You've run out of better ideas. So that is not a confidence builder for the crew. Don't let your insecurities get the best of you. I'll tell you, I've worked with a lot of crazy directors over the years. Crazy directors. I've seen a lot of crazy directors in action. And I'll tell you, the crew is not going to be there to support them. The producer's not going to be there to support them. They're always going to struggle because they treat people so badly. Certainly the actors are not going to give them their best performance. It's just a weird thing that so many people feel like it's their job to freak out on people and direct. So don't lose your temper. Don't be a jerk. And let me tell you, as a creative professional, I just don't see a time ever to be a jerk. Certainly you can get firm with people. You don't have to be a people pleaser. Maybe we should do an episode sometime on being a people pleaser, because I think that's enormously destructive. And I know, because I suffer from it. I can honestly say that there have been times in my career where I've released a project that could have been better because I was too willing to just say, okay, guys, that's okay, because I want to be a people pleaser. I wasn't willing to push them to a greater level. I wasn't able to push them to do a better job. I gave in because I was a people pleaser, and that's a terrible thing. I don't recommend that at all, but at the same time, there's a difference between people pleasing and being a jerk. Don't be a jerk. The third thing I would say is always be open to unexpected ideas from wacky, strange places. You know what? Anybody on my crew is able to talk to me and give me an idea. Certainly you have structure on a crew, and you don't want everybody rushing up to you and giving you their brilliant ideas all the time, but there have been numerous times where we were stuck. We had a plan, but because of the location or because of circumstance or because of something in the story, that plan didn't work out, and we needed a new idea, and we hit a wall. And there have been a couple times when, I'll give you a great example. I was shooting a commercial in Texas one time, shooting a commercial, and it was about a former gang member. Now, this was a gang member back in the 50s, so it's nothing like the gang members of today, but he had lived his life as a gang member in the 50s, and they were stealing hubcaps and stealing cars and all that kind of stuff, and for a living. He was a young guy in junior high school stealing hubcaps for a business. And he grew up, he had this powerful spiritual encounter, changed his life. Now he's an avid church member, he's a big family man. And we were doing his story, and we did this little commercial, and it ended around a Christmas tree. And we suddenly had this idea that what if he opened his gift, the big gift from the family, and it just was a perfect ending for this whole little spot, but we couldn't think of what that gift should be. We were just beating our brains out. Former gang member, family guy, got his spiritual life straightened out. What do we do? And we were pacing the floor trying to figure it out. And the assistant makeup artist walked up to me and said, you know what? What if he opens the gift and it's a hubcap? It's an old hubcap. And it bring everything together because it reminded him of how everything started. And the family laughs, and it was a great little moment around the Christmas tree. And we did it, and it worked beautifully. And it was from the assistant makeup artist. So I learned when I did that, and that was a long time ago, but when I did that, you never know who's going to have that moment of inspiration and insight. So always be open. Again, you don't want everybody rushing you all the time, throwing out ideas. But when that moment happens, be open to listening to what other people have to say. They care about this project. They are on your team, and they want to succeed. So always be open to unexpected ideas. The fourth thing is be confident. This may be the most important thing of all. But I think for a director, confidence is incredibly important. When you're on a set, the crew looks to the director for, they want to know that you have a plan. They want to know that you're moving forward. And there are times when things are not going well. There are times when weather screws things up. There's time when the clock gets out of control. There's time when an actor's not doing what he needs to be doing, or some equipment breaks, whatever. Never let the crew see you sweat. It's not about being arrogant, or it's not about lying, but it is about having confidence. Because trust me, if the director starts looking like he doesn't know what to do, the rest of the crew starts getting insecure. They're not sure what they're supposed to do. So be careful that you're not faking this. It's not about being fake, but it's about trying to encourage other people by keeping your confidence level up. As you know, it rolls downhill. And the more confidence you have on the set, the more you're going to inspire other people on the set to rise up to the occasion and do amazing things. And the last thing I would say, number 5, is lavish incredible credit on the crew. You know what? I see directors all the time who just want to take the credit for everything. They don't give the time of day to people in their crew. They don't give them any credit for what they've done. But I'll tell you, you want to inspire people to do amazing things, let them take credit for stuff. Give them credit for ideas and suggestions. Encourage them. You know what? John Maxwell, I've said this a lot on different episodes. John Maxwell, a real mentor of mine when it comes to leadership, says every leader needs to walk through the factory. If you're sitting up in your high tower all day long, never meeting people, never knowing their name, never seeing what they do, you're going to create this huge separation that's not going to be helpful. Directors are the same way. You know what? Visit the makeup trailer. Visit the wardrobe trailer. Talk to people on the crew. Talk to people that you never normally may not even know. Introduce yourself. Become their friend. I'm going to just say that when you give them credit for things, when you encourage them, you cannot imagine the spark that goes off in those people, and they will go crazy, and they will do anything to help you. They will rise above. And it gets to a point where you don't have to tell them what to do anymore. They're so enthusiastic. They start showing up ready to do their thing. So these are 5 critical things. Number 1, do your homework. Number 2, don't be a jerk. Let me just say, as a creative leader, that should be important in every area of your life. Number 3, always be open to ideas from unexpected places. You never know where that next brilliant, great idea is going to come from. Number 4, be confident. Don't be so, insecure that suddenly you're falling apart when things happen. And trust me, bad things are going to happen on a set. If you've ever directed, you know. And number 5, lavish credit on the crew. I think if you encourage your crew, they will reward you with an amazing, amazing effort. So those 5 things, just never remember, whatever you do on a set, directing techniques, writing techniques, creative, whatever, always remember these 5 areas are baseline for a director to have when he's working with his team. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, help share this with people you know. You have people that are making short films, people that are making bigger movies or television programs. Share this with them. We can all learn and be reminded of little stuff that can make a dramatic difference on set or in a creative meeting. If you're watching on YouTube, like us, comment, share, subscribe. If you're listening as a podcast, rate us, review us, share it with your friends. It's only by you sharing these with your friends and networks can we really grow and get these creative messages out to more and more people. And don't forget, sign up on my blog, philcooke.com, up in the upper right-hand corner. You can sign up for my free weekly newsletter. We'll send you a free, condensation of our 5 biggest blogs that I've written that week. As again, I just appreciate the fact that you listen, that you share. I'm so honored that you'd be a part of this because we really want to build a creative community of people that want to impact the world, because if we can impact the culture, I believe we can change the world.